Hey, my name is Mohan, I'm the CMO of Nyron.
My name is Luca, and I'm the CEO of Nyron.
Guys, in this video today, we're going to be going over Claude Code. Luca, Claude Code's been all the hype, specifically since the beginning of the year so far. And in this video, let's do a quick breakdown of what it is, how it works, and how people can use it to get far better outcomes with AI than with just a regular chatbot.
Yeah, so you just said it there. In order to really understand what Claude Code is, we need to kind of look at what developers used to do before Claude Code came out, which was essentially giving snippets of their code base to ChatGPT or even to Claude, but on the interface, and essentially asking it to perform some sort of software engineering for them, and it would give them the code back into the chat. The problem is you're stuck between copy-pasting from Claude, going to your code base and going back and forth multiple times, and Claude doesn't have the entire context of the entire code base. There were tools out like Cursor, which we will get to in future videos, which were more of a on-code based solution, until Claude Code actually released the CLI, which is essentially using Claude Code in the terminal. And so just to make it very simple, there are tools like ChatGPT, which you can talk to and you can ask it about code, or there are tools like Claude Code, and for example, like Codex from OpenAI, which we'll get to in future videos, which essentially help you run, write, and test code.
And so is Claude Code then considered agentic or to be an agent?
Yes, so the definition of an agent is essentially an LLM, which is able to do actions because it loops around whatever the objective is. So in this case, what Claude Code actually does is that it reads the code base. It comes up with an approach of a plan. It works with the human in the loop to configure the plan and sort of get approval on the plan. And then it goes ahead and writes and edits code, keeps running that in tests until the code actually works.
And do you need to use Claude Code in the terminal? Because that is pretty scary for especially non-technical founders and non-technical business owners, getting used to that entire setup.
So today, no, but when it started off, it was only in the terminal. But today you can use it in the terminal, you can use it in VS Code, which is essentially an IDE, or essentially where developers write code typically. You can use it in other platforms like Cursor and JetBrains, or you can use it in the desktop app, like Claude Cowork, which we're going to get to in future videos, or you can use it in the web app today and actually use a cloud version of Claude Code.
Okay, so we've talked about the abstract idea of Claude Code. Let's actually show a demo here on terminal.
So I'm in my terminal here, and after you set it up, it's as easy as just saying Claude. Claude comes up, and you can ask it something like, what is this code base about? And then as you can see, Claude Code starts thinking.
And you don't need to just ask it about your code base. You can literally just treat it as you would the regular chatbot.
For sure. So actually what happens is that whenever you spin up Claude, it actually reads the code base before even your first question. And so it knows what the code base is before you even started the session. So remember when we spoke about context window? The context windows are already filled even coming in prior to your first message. So that's very different from using ChatGPT or other tools like that. So in this case, we can see here that it's actually not a code base, it's just a file that I have with all my project files inside. And we can ask it something as simple as, what if I wanted to create a newspaper website? And so you can see here, you can actually brainstorm how it would go about creating a website, in this case, a newspaper website. And we can go ahead and ask it like, what tech stack should I use for this type of website? And a lot of the initial use cases are very educational. You can essentially ask it anything to do with software engineering. You can ask it to teach you step by step on how you can build up a website, how to host a website. The thing that I really like to stress about is that there are no dumb questions. You can ask it, how much will this website cost me? What if a lot of people come onto the website? If you want to bring in some type of authentication, like people need to log in and register, you can ask it, what are the best tools to do that? So really, your creativity is the limit.
Okay, and obviously with the Claude chat, you have control over certain things that you can do. For example, you can change the model, you can do deep research, apply skills. How does that work on Claude Code?
Yeah, so everything works through a slash command, and it actually starts telling you how to actually use it. So you can do /help. You can get a full list of all the commands that it has. One of the really cool ones is that you can do /model, and you can actually change which model you're using. So in this case, I'm using Fable 5, really expensive model. For something simple like this, I might move to Sonnet 5. I can even tell it, please add some more effort. So in terms of how much effort it'll put into this session, I can say, please use max effort, for example. And effort is a separate video on its own, so we'll get to it in future videos.
Great, and guys, this was just a very, very quick demo and explanation of what Claude Code is. It sounds very scary, especially to non-technical people, but once you start using it over the span of a couple of days, you'll realize that really it's not much different than the chat interface itself, and it actually gives you a lot more power with regards to how custom you can make your interactions with Claude itself. So if you enjoyed the video, you can subscribe to the channel. You can also subscribe to our newsletter, links down in the description below. You can follow us on LinkedIn. We're very active on a day-to-day basis. Until next time, we'll see you in the next video.